Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we are headed back into the Remix Cup to see what Shadow Charizard is able to do. It's a very squishy Pokemon, something that has a lot of damage, but very little bulk, so saving shields for it and getting shield advantage is absolutely critical. That's why we're pairing it with Goodra with insane coverage with Aqua Tail and Thunder Punch, being able to draw shields from a lot of things in the meta, and then Registeel with these high energy nukes, Focus Blast, Zap Cannon. Most things aren't going to be able to survive the onslaught that Registeel outputs, so we're able to get shield advantage for a Charizard, try to sweep the end games with it. Let's take a look at the battles and see what Shadow Charizard is capable of. Getting into the first battle of the night, we're going to see our Goodra lead into a Jellicent. We have Thunder Punch here, we have a lot of Dragon Breath pressure, and the best thing is we're keeping this off of our Shadow Charizard. What we want to do here is not use shields ourselves. We want to try to get a Thunder Punch off and set up either a farm down for a Charizard, or maybe take a shield if they get a little bit greedy and they try to bait us. They do throw the Shadow Ball first, so now we will be in range where they can probably just go straight Surf here to take the matchup, but that's totally fine because we can get to this Thunder Punch, and after our Dragon Breaths have added up so much here, it's going to put them very low. At this point, this is prime Wing Attack farm down range for a Shadow Charizard. We can come in with that, try to get an energy lead, and if this is their best answer to Zard, we should be in a very good spot into the backline. Charizard does come in, we get some Wing Attacks, and they instantly swap out to their Empoleon. So we have an energy lead here, but we see that they have another water type. Maybe it's triple water. If that's the case, that's not the best thing to see, but we're going to try to get some use out of our Registeel as well. We got a shield with a Dragon Claw bait. Charizard is very bait and nuke reliant, at least it can be, so getting that bait off was huge. We're going to absorb energy here. Registeel is able to survive 2 attacks from this Empoleon, so we can easily absorb that, get a move off, or we will, I guess, absorb another Hydro Cannon first, and then we can throw a move at this Empoleon and see how they want to play it out. Overfarm as much as we can, because these Steel Wings aren't doing a lot of damage, there's a chance we can still get to a move against whatever tries to farm us down. Focus Blast will go through, it gets the knockout. What is their third? It's actually a double Steel backline with the Shadow Magnezone in the back. Luckily, my Registeel can barely get to this Focus Blast. We have energy on our Shadow Charizard, so if we can get to a Blast Burn against this, we will be able to win the game. These Volt Switches, though, look at that damage. It's chipping us down so quickly. We get to the Blast Burn, we make it in the middle of the Volt Switch to make sure a catch cannot happen. This Blast Burn will be more than enough to knock this out, and if Wing Attacks are enough to knock out the Jellicent, we'll be able to take the match here with our Shadow Charizard sweeping the backline. GG's to them, very fun game, and getting into the next matchup here, we're going to see our Goodra lead into a Carbink. This is the worst case scenario. We are kind of ABA weak to this, right? We have a Dragon type, which is weak to Fairy, with a Fire type and a Flying type in the back that is both weak to Rock, and this means that we kind of just have to soft lose this lead matchup. Luckily, though, these Dragon Breaths do chip down the Carbink a decent amount, and Aqua Tail is super effective, so even though we are a Dragon type, we have some play here. We just have to shield up this move, hope it's a Moonblast, and hope they don't debuff us. If they debuff us, that's really unfortunate, and they get the debuff. This means now our Dragon Breaths are doing 1 less damage each turn. Instead of doing 2, we are only doing 1 damage. You can notice the difference here, and our Aqua Tails as well are not going to be able to start threatening this anywhere near as quickly. The first one does come through there, I guess that's the second one at that point. Our third Aqua Tail will come through. Normally, without that debuff, this thing would basically be knocked out by now, but they aren't. The one good thing, though, about these Carbink leads is a lot of the time they run grass types in the back, so our backline will have a lot of play. I know that it's a crazy play to shield against this Tropius knowing that Carbink is still alive, but with that said, that Carbink is so low, I know I can get an energy lead, take shields back from that Carbink, and leverage my Charizard more into this game. I'm expecting right now a Shadow Victory Bell as the third, so if I can keep my Charizard alive, or draw some shields from them, then I'm going to be in a great spot with both my Goodra and my Registeel in the back. Throw the Blaster and guarantee the knockout here, and see if they're going to try to throw energy or farm us all the way down here. They are going to shield the first move. We can maybe get to a Dragon Claw, looks like we just barely can, right before they get to this attack, and now we are going to either take them very low, or draw the last shield. We don't quite knock them out with that, but it does get them so low we can either lock on them down or Dragon Breath them down, and we are just hoping right now that it is that Victory Bell in the back. Looks like it's a Grass and Poison type. It is that Shadow Victory Bell. Fantastic stuff here. We're going to try to get this Zap Cannon off, maybe go for a debuff. If we get the debuff, then they're going to have no damage against us whatsoever, but if we don't get the debuff, I think we're still fine. It does go through, but no debuff, which means that we are going to try to get to another one here. If we can land a move, we can probably Dragon Breath this all the way down. Normally, Registeel and Shadow Victory Bell is not the most comfortable matchup in the game, just because you need to land 2 moves to knock them out. They do resist our charge attacks after all. Even though they are very squishy, it does get resisted damage here, so we need to swap into our Goodra, Dragon Breath this down, and then we can throw a charge move here. Obviously, the Thunder Punch. You throw the Thunder Punch into the Carbink, just throw it on Dominance here. Make sure they know who's boss. It's the Goodra. Takes out the Rock and Fairy type. The terrible lead. We can take the win in that match. Alright, next game here, what are we going to see? And it looks like this time it's a Jellicent lead, just like game number 1. We saw how this plays out in the lead. It's a very neutral matchup here, but Goodra can get some sort of advantage, or set up a very nice farm down for a Shadow Charizard in the back. We're going to go for this first Thunder Punch here, either take a shield or do a lot of damage. Looks like this time they do end up shielding that Thunder Punch, and I am very happy to see this. At this point, I know that my Goodra has done what I needed to do. It has given me shield advantage for my backline. We just need to see what they have in the back. Looks like it is going to be a Shadow Gligar. We can get an Aqua Tail off too before they can get a move off, which means either another shield or a lot of damage will come through onto the Gligar. Looks like they end up double shielding. We have 2 shields to 0 with our Shadow Charizard. This is fantastic. We know how much damage these Blast Burns can do. I think that Jellicent at this point, I can get them into range where Blast Burn would knock them out if we can get enough wing attacks on them. We get this Blast Burn through on CMP. I want to keep this shield for that Surf that they almost have loaded on their Jellicent in the back. That way I can still have play with my Shadow Charizard. We're going to shield this up, farm up as much energy as we possibly can so that we can Blast Burn this, hopefully knock this out, and have enough health or energy on our Charizard to get to yet another move against the backline. We land this Blast Burn. Is it enough? They have about 40% health. It's a Jellicent. It resists this move, but no, it gets knocked out. Shadow Charizard is just too powerful. It takes out the resisted move there on the Jellicent. It is fantastic. It's a great Pokemon. I love using Shadow Charizard. We get another Blast Burn off against the Clawtire, one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game. It's one shot by that. This is why Shadow Blast Burn is something to be feared. Shadow Charizard, honestly, one of my favorite Pokemon. It's a squishy Pokemon. It's not the easiest to use. You have to know how to set it up. But when you get scenarios like this, it is just so awesome to try to make work. All right, that was a fun game. Let's see what the next matchup is going to be. We have the Goodra into the Registeel, a very uncomfortable lead matchup because I have my Shadow Charizard in the back that would much rather be in this matchup. With that said, you can see how much damage my Dragon Breaths are doing. I'm doing 2 damage per turn, and I can go for the Aqua Tail here. I know for a fact that my Goodra has a decent matchup here. I don't want to be down energy in the Registeel mirror, so I'm not going to swap out. At least not yet. I did CMP them, though, so if this is a Zap Cannon, which I think it is because they threw after 16, I can swap out and basically just start building up energy on my Charizard here. They're staying in. They're probably going to try to go for a Zap Cannon debuff, which means I'm going to go for the Blast Burn of my own, draw the shield right when they get their Zap Cannon, and make them make this decision first. It looks like they do shield that up, so I'm going to shield myself. I know that I have a bit of energy. I know that I have a ton of health. I don't want to let my Charizard go. We shield up the Zap Cannon, and in comes a Mandibuzz. This isn't the best thing to see, but it's also not the worst. We are debuffed, unfortunately, but these Blast Burns are still an extremely powerful attack. We can get a lot of damage, a lot of health off of this Mandibuzz. Yeah, that's debuff damage right there. It almost takes him down well below half health, almost into the red. We can almost, I think, survive this Dark Pulse too, force him to either throw energy or we can get another Blast Burn. Looks like they don't get greedy. They do throw their move, very smart play by them, but now our Goodra, it still has energy on it, right? We can come with Goodra, try to get to a move here before we get knocked out by this Mandibuzz, and we can actually, I'd probably just throw the Aqua Tail now. We have an energy lead. We know that that Registeel might come back in. At this point, though, my Goodra has stripped it down enough, same with my Charizard, to where I think I can knock them out with an Aqua Tail if I CMP them on their next move. And if they do shield this up, I think that my shield advantage Registeel in the back will have play. If not, we'll just have to play it by ear, see what they're going to have. They are going to let this go. Their final Pokemon is a Shadow Poliwrath. That is very scary to see, but we have Thunder Punch here. I absolutely need them to shield this up. It won't knock them out. Zap Cannon will do a lot more damage. They do shield it up. They know it could do a lot of damage. They had no idea I had a Registeel in the back, so this means my Reggie should be able to get the Zap Cannon. It doesn't matter if they debuff us. They are Shadow Poliwrath. It will knock out. They Scald us. They do get the attack drop, but we get the Zap Cannon. It's an incredibly powerful move here against the Shadow Poliwrath, and it will one-shot it, take the game, Registeel closing out that match. Getting on into the next match, we're going to see that we have the Goodra into a Shadow Typhlosion, a fantastic lead for Goodra, and we want to keep switch advantage at all costs because we know that our Registeel does not want any part of that matchup. Since they safe swap the Shadow Poliwrath here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chip them with Thunder Punch and then come in with my Shadow Typhlosion. Oh, this is a regular Poliwrath rather, not a Shadow, but it's still the same play, right? We're throwing the Thunder Punch, chip them down, then shield and farm this thing all the way down. If I get energy, I can start threatening that Shadow Typhlosion, get my shields back, and also keep my Registeel off of this, keep switch advantage in my favor, and then I can always make sure that I have the alignment I want. What's going to come back in here? Probably the Shadow Typhlosion, but if that's the case, I get these Dragon Claws off. I probably get 2 off here because I have so much energy from that farm down. The first one comes through. We are attack dropped, but it still takes them below half health. We get yet another Dragon Claw through. They probably have to shield this unless they want to bank on their third Pokemon to sweep my entire team. We get this move off. It does get the shield. They're going to overfarm a little bit, but they can't overfarm anymore or else I would get to that Dragon Claw, so they do throw the energy here. This is great for me. I now have my shield back. I can farm this down with my Goodra. As long as the third Pokemon's not a massive core breaker, we should be in a decent spot. In the back is a Shadow Empoleon. This isn't a huge core breaker, but it is a little bit awkward for us to see. Registeel has a decent matchup here. We resist the fast moves, but we don't resist the charge moves. These Hydras are going to be able to two-shot us after a little bit of fast move pressure. That means I'm going to want to go for these Zap Cannons, try to go for an attack drop, and I want to get shields down. If I can get shields down, which it looks like I just did, I should be able to use my Goodra here to close out the game. They have to throw energy very soon if they want to knock me out. I did get the attack drop. Can I survive this move? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think I can, honestly. Looks like it does barely knock us out, but we have energy on our Gudra. We can get to the Thunder Punch here very soon, and as long as they don't make a catch, I should be able to win this game. I need to watch to make sure if that Typhlosion ever comes in, that I don't throw the move. Looks like they knew their counts, but we watched for the catch. We have our Thunder Punch loaded now. We can throw it and take the match against this Empoleon. Next opponent here, we're going to see a Gudra into a Shadow Dragonite lead. This is a decent matchup because our backline really doesn't want to see this, but they can get to a move and win CMP first, and their Dragon Claw will knock us out. I could shield this, but I also know that I don't like going down shields with my Gudra, so I'm just going to let this go and farm them all the way down with Shadow Charizard. I know Charizard and Registeel normally have a lot of play into Shadow D-Knight teams. Maybe there's a Ferrothorn in the back, maybe, I guess a Poliwrath here. Why would they bring in a Poliwrath into my Charizard? That's my first question I'm asking myself. I'm thinking right now, it's either a Registeel in the back or a Ferrothorn. That has to be the two picks that they could have. Sometimes you see Jellicent, but they would have brought that in here, I think at least, if they had it. I'm going to shield this move. I have so much energy, and I know that my Registeel wants to avoid this Poliwrath at all costs. We can get off 2 Dragon Claws here, but after that debuff, I don't know if it's going to be enough to knock out. I don't think I can get to a Blast Burn as well, so we'll just go for the 2 Dragon Claws, get as much Wing Attack and Dragon Claw chip damage against this as we can. Maybe we can put this into lock-on down range. If we can, I think we'll have a lot of play. That's going to be an ambitious lock-on down, but I think we can do it here. I'm going to no-shield this. I know if it is a Registeel in the back, I need to keep shield advantage. If I have shield and energy lead into that Registeel, I should be in a good spot. And are they going to get another move? We get the lock-on down right when they get their next move, and in the back, a Ferrothorn. As I thought, it's a Steel type. The more favorable Steel type to see as well, so we take the game there. GG's to our opponent. Alright, Tropius lead. Our whole team has a lot of play into this. Honestly, that was probably our worst matchup with their Gudra, but they instantly swap out here to their Empoleon, so this is a little bit of an awkward scenario. I don't know exactly what I want to do against this. I'm going to just stay in for a second. I know I don't really need Switch, and I love taking shields from my opponent before I end up using shields, so we're just going to stay in, make them throw energy here, and see how we want to play it out. At this point, it is a little bit of an awkward farm down for both my Charizard or my Registeel, but I think with my shield advantage and the fact that I know Tropius is what's in the back, I can just come in with my Charizard, build up a lot of energy, shield up this first move. We are resisting these fast attacks, so this is one of the few spots I can be in to get a lot of energy for basically no damage myself. We'll CMP this Dragon Claw, that way in case we need some sort of shield advantage in the back, we still have shields, we have energy. What are they going to bring in? Looks like they are going to wait down their switch clock a little bit. What is it going to be? Eventually, they are going to bring in okay, that's a Shadow Typhlosion. That took him a long time to bring that in. But yeah, Shadow Typhlosion, we'd rather see this here than on our Registeel, right? We have energy lead, we have a Shadow on Shadow action here, so we know just how much damage we're going to do. They do end up shielding that, and in the back is the Tropius that they come in with. I could have thrown energy. It was so tempting to just Blast Burn this, but I know my lose condition is to throw my energy with my Shadow Charizard, make it so I don't have energy against that Typhlosion in the back. So I'm going to be patient. I saved the Blast Burn. Now I can use that against the backline, use my Registeel against this Tropius, absorb all of the damage, and then just start spamming out these Zap Cannons. Looks like they've realized what I'm doing here. They know there's no way I can lose that game, so they end up top lefting. We take the match. GG's to them. Getting into this next match, Shadow Charizard into Gudra. Fantastic lead force, but they do have Dragon Claw. So they're using the Shadow Charizard themselves. Let's see how they're going to play it out. Looks like they do throw the first move, but I know I survived this attack. It's not going to do that much damage to me. Dragon Claw does take us about to the red, and they make a fantastic catch on Registeel. The one good thing about this matchup, though, is even though they did make this catch, my Shadow Charizard is in a prime position to get a lot of energy, to get a lot of damage off as well, and I can hopefully use my energy against their own Charizard, maybe even set up a Shadow Charizard sweep. They are going to throw a move. Are they going to get the debuff with the Zap Cannon? Luckily, we do avoid it this time. So we're going to have our full strength on our Dragonite, a lot of energy as well. We have almost another Blast Burn loaded. We can start spamming out those Dragon Claws against their own Charizard if they come back in. And if they do come back in with Zard, I'm going to start thinking that they're probably a little bit scared of my own Charizard here. What I can do now, if they shield this, is I'm going to shield my own. I think I can Wing Attack them all the way down. They were on their 4th cycle there, so they're 5 Wing Attacks away from their next move. If I can knock them out here in the next 4 Wing Attacks, we can get a full farm down, have Blast Burns loaded for the backline, and just start throwing these nukes as soon as we can. In the back, they have a Ferrothorn. We have the 2 Blast Burns here. We are in a great spot. If they let this go, it's going to knock out this Ferrothorn. It would probably knock out this entire Ferrothorn's family. We do get the shield. We get the KO through the shield there. We get the knockout, and we can take the match there. GG's to them. Yet another Fire-type lead here. A Shadow Typhlosion into our Gudra. They safe swap their Jellicent here. Not exactly the safest swap in this meta. I intentionally did a little bit more Dragon Breath damage against this thing, put them closer to lock-on down range, because I know that Jellicent doesn't quite get one-shot by Zap Cannon, and that my lock-ons don't do a lot of damage, so getting a little bit of extra damage in that lead matchup will make it so it's much more comfortable here for my Registeel. What I want to make sure I don't do, though, is I don't want to give that Typhlosion a massive farm down against me. If I do, then that's going to mean that they can start spamming out Blast Burns, Thunder Punches against my backline, so I intentionally take this move, make it so they have to throw energy here, and now I know that I'm in a range where I can probably still get the Focus Blast off. They only get 2 Incinerate, so I'm going to get a shield here. They're only at a Thunder Punch, so we're still up energy in terms of like the energy and shield ratio that we have here. The Focus Blast does get shielded. We come in with our Goodra likely to absorb all of this energy, and we just have to hope that the backline is not going to be bad for us. They do get to a move here, but since we have our shield and they use the shield in that other matchup, we can shield this up safely, still have another shield to go, and maybe our Gudra's going to have play in the back. Looks like it wouldn't, but our Shadow Charizard sure does. We can get to these Blast Burns here, basically knock them out in one shot. Even if they debuff us, it's going to be in range where these Blast Burns plus the Wing attacks will be able to knock them out very easily. Looks like we are going to go for the double Blast Burn here. We build up to back-to-back moves. If we did get that debuff, I think we did get debuffed here. This won't quite knock out. Yeah, but it doesn't quite knock out, but we get the Wing attack down. That is fantastic news. We have energy to go against this Typhlosion. We can either throw the Blast Burn or I guess the Dragon Claw. I probably should have gone for the Burn. They probably no-shield this, but this Dragon Claw will put them into fast attack down range, and we can take the game here against that Shadow Typhlosion lead. GG's to them. Yet another Fire-type user in the meta, but luckily ours came out on top. Alright, Gudra into a Weezing, a Fairy type, one of the few Fairy types I've seen in this meta, at least aside from like a Alolan Ninetales here, an absolutely terrible lead, because this thing normally runs Overheat. With that said, I don't think I can shield this. It won't one-shot me, and I'm guessing right now they might have a better answer to me in the back. They're trying to fish for a shield here, and yeah, that is a Shadow Gligar, so that is definitely an answer here to Reggie. At least I can go for these Zap Cannons, try to get some debuffs onto them, and maybe make it a little bit more manageable for my backline. I know at this point this debuff will make it so they have to throw a dig. They'll have to expend a lot of energy if they want to knock me out, and we'll see if they actually get greedy. If they don't, they do throw the dig, smart play by them, but Gudra can come in, get up a lot of energy here, farm them all the way down, and now I know that my energy will go at least somewhere this game. I can farm them down hopefully before they get to the double aerial. They might just go for a dig here. Yeah, they don't get to 2 moves, so they might as well just go for the 1. And now that they threw the big move, though, I get an energy lead on Shadow Charizard. I have energy on Gudra. What is their third Pokemon going to be this game? I'm just waiting them down on the switch clock here. What are they going to have? It is the Obstagoon in the back, not the most common pick in the meta. I'm going for a very bold Dragon Claw bait. With that said, if they do no-shield this, they're putting themselves into fast move farm down range this game. So even though they did call that bait, very well called by them, we can still kind of chip down this Obstagoon, build up as much energy as we can, and potentially have play into that Weezing in the back. We know for a fact here that we have a lot of play with our Shadow Charizard, so I'm going to shield everything that I can on it, and they do come in with the Weezing. We go for yet another very risky bait. This time they do shield it. They don't call 2 moves in a row, and now we can go for the Blast Burn here, either knock them out or put them very low. Well, no, this would knock them out if they no-shield it, so they do end up shielding it, and now I know for a fact that my Gudra is in a decent spot. We've chipped down the Obstagoon, we've chipped down the Weezing, but we will shield this up. It is a Play Rough. They're running Play Rough Overheat. I can get to the Blast Burn here, and now I know that Obstagoon in the back has to throw energy against me here. It'll have to throw energy against my Gudra. I think we might have been able to flip this matchup. They throw energy immediately there. That's fantastic for us, but we got a lot of farm down against that Gligar. We have a move loaded basically on our Gudra. 1 Aqua Tail plus the Dragon Breath should be more than enough to knock them out here. We get the Aqua Tail through. As long as they can't get to a Night Slash, we should have this game, and it looks like they just end up top lefting. They know they're not going to get the knockout in time, and we can take the match there against that Fairy type lead. Next game, a fantastic lead matchup. The Gudra into the Mantine, fantastic lead because we have Thunder Punch and we also have a Wing Attack bulk point here. We won't get put into range where 2 Aerial Aces will knock us out in the Zero Shield because we have this bulk point. I'm going to go for my double Thunder Punch here, try to get shield advantage because as I've said a lot in this video, shield advantage is all you need to make Shadow Charizard turn its bad matchups into good ones. Thunder Punch will get shielded. They'll have to shield twice or just let their Mantine go at this point, or maybe swap into a backline Pokemon if they don't want to have to double shield this pick. Let's see what's going to happen here. They try to make a nice catch onto a Quagsire. Very awkward thing to see. Our Gudra is our Quagsire answer. Our Gudra is basically knocked out, though. What I'm going to have to do is bring in the Charizard into the Water type. I know this is a strange play, but Charizard at this point will be able to get it into range where a Dragon Claw will knock it out after these Wing Attacks, after that Aqua Tail. They throw an Aqua Tail at me. I have to be on point with my counts here. CMP on this move. Hopefully this Dragon Claw will be enough. It should be. It's Shadow into Shadow. We'll see what we can do. We do get the knockout here. If Mantine comes back in, I can start outpacing them to moves here, and it looks like they throw the Aerial Ace. It wouldn't knock me out, but if they're coming back into this matchup, a very low HP Mantine, I feel like that means my Shadow Charizard could have a lot more play into the backline matchup. We go for the Dragon Claw. We have 2. If they shield this up, I throw back to back. If not, we see what they bring in, and we make the decision there. They do let it go. In the back is going to be the Shadow Typhlosion. Alright, this game is not over yet. This is a very scary Pokemon to see, because this pick right here has a lot of fast move pressure. they might be able to farm me down before I knock them out, and if I didn't throw this move right now, if I tried to build up the Blast Burn, they could Thunder Punch me. My Registeel basically gets one-shot by this, but we land the Dragon Claw, we get even more Wing Attack damage through. It looks like at this point they're committing to the fast move farm down, but because of that, we can Wing Attack them down and take the match against them there. Would have been a tricky endgame, I think, if they didn't play it out like that, but I think we might have still had a chance. Alright, next match, a Goodra into a Deoxys defense. Very interesting lead matchup. They might try to Psycho Boost and dip. They might try to play it out. Looks like this one does just instantly throw the Psycho Boost here. I know Goodra's decently bulky. I can survive this. I can also use my energy against the backline. It is their own Goodra though, so I wouldn't want to throw energy there. What I want to do instead is chip them down with my fast moves and then land a Focus Blast on this. Kind of like how I chipped down the Jellicent earlier. I wanted to chip down this Goodra into range where a Focus Blast would put them into lock-on down range. We're going to throw the Focus Blast when we can here, right before they get to their Aqua Tail, and if we can get a perfect lock-on down, we might be in a good spot this game. Focus Blast comes through, it puts them very low. This is prime lock on down range. If they can get 2 Aqua Tails off, that's a little awkward. If they only get 1 off though, and we get the perfect farm down, we are in a fantastic spot. Aqua Tail just barely doesn't knock us out there. We get the farm down, we have a move basically loaded. We're going to throw the Zap Cannon. This is going to do so much more damage than anything our Goodra could throw into this Deoxys, so they might end up shielding it. If so, then we'll have shield advantage for the backline. And now I know that I don't want to let that thing get countered down. I can throw this Aqua Tail, chip down this Deoxys even more, and see what their backline is going to be. They've already shown 1 dragon. Maybe it is double dragon, and it looks like it is. These Dragon Breaths that I got onto this Guzzlord are going to be critical. It puts them very close to where I can get it into Wing Attack plus Dragon Claw range. I know I can outpace to the double Dragon Claw because Charizard is actually a very quick charging Pokemon to these Dragon Claws. We are at the first one. We can build up 4 more Wing Attacks, get to the back-to-back, and then if they end up no shielding, or if they end up shielding, we throw back-to-back. If they no shield, then we try to deal with that Deoxys with our Shadow Charizard here. We go for the first Dragon Claw. If it goes through, it should get the knockout. If not, we'll throw back-to-back. They do let it go. We get the knockout, and in comes the Deoxys defense. They have a little bit of energy here, but we have the double Dragon Claw at this point. We're going to throw the first one. We can throw the second one right after the fact. They have not thrown a Psycho Boost yet. They might be trying to go for a farm down here. Our Registeel still has health on it. Looks like they're attempting a farm down against our Charizard, trying to win the game with their Deoxys Psycho boosting our Registeel in the back. Luckily, we still took the game there and took the match. Next match, another fantastic lead, another fire type, a different one this time though. So a very unique pick from our opponent, but what we're going to try to do after I see this Golbat come in is I just want to take a shield from this and see how they want to play it out. I know for a fact that up energy, up shields, my Charizard should have a lot of play here, and it feels like they're really trying to bait out my Registeel by coming in here with his Skullbat. So I don't really want to just give up my Registeel for nothing. They make a great play though, they go for the Shadow Ball, but I get this Aqua Tail off right at the last second. I'm banking on my Shadow Charizard right now to be able to sweep the backline. I do get both shields, absorb all of the energy I can with Registeel, try to lock on down, or potentially get a move off, or maybe if I make them dump all of their energy here, I can actually get a lot of energy with my Registeel, and swap into my Charizard and farm them down with that. Looks like they do throw a move. They threw a Poison Fang first, so now this Shadow Ball's going to do a lot of damage to me, but I do survive it. I'm going to go for a very bold Wing Attack down. There's not a lot of things in the meta that wants to take a Blast Burn. This thing resists my move here, right? Surely a resisted Blast Burn is not going to knock out the Salazzle. Definitely, right? No, it does. It just straight up knocks them out. What is their third Pokemon? We have energy on Reggie. We have energy and shields here on our Shadow Charizard. What is it going to be? They come in with an Ice type. They're just going to get melted here with this Blast Burn at this point. We know we can Blast Burn this, Wing Attack down that Golbat, and get a complete sweep with our Shadow Charizard. GG's to our opponent. Very, very fun match. As you can see this video, Shadow Charizard is just kind of crazy. The worst matchup in this meta is obviously going to be that Carbink, but if you can avoid it, it has play into the water types. It has play into basically everything here. It's a fun pick. It's not the best pick, but it is a pick that if you know how to use it, you can make it work. You can have a lot of fun here in the Go Battle League. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream Pokemon Go PvP nearly every day at twitch.tv/itsaxon, so if you want to see content like this live, make sure to check me out there. I'm also going to upload a lot more videos to this channel, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.